back to 2019. And especially May of 2019, there was a new Godzilla movie coming out. Aladdin got a remake. A new John Wick was coming out. But then there was one movie that every film YouTuber praised for some reason. And the movie we're talking about is probably the most forgotten comedy, despite all the praise the movie got. And that's this movie right here, Booksmart. I have never seen the movie Booksmart, and I don't plan on ever seeing this movie. But this is a list of comedy movies listed by popularity. Zombieland will not be this well. I don't know why Zombieland is at 46. I think you got your who's messed up, but yeah. Booksmart is, however, unlike most of these other movies, are either bad or, like Zombieland, so not being near the bottom, but Booksmart, there's a reason why Booksmart's the bottom, because nobody remembers Booksmart. Nobody talks about this movie. Okay. When you look up the movie on YouTube, you see the trailers for the movie. But look up reviews for the movie as well. And you have videos like, why Booksmart feels like a classic. Booksmart is the smartest coming of age movie. But you don't see people really talking about the movie ever since the movie came out. Really? It's kind of sad because this was supposed to be a classic. This was supposed to be a classic movie. This was supposed to be a coming-of-age classic. But nobody wanted to see it. First of all, Booksmart is woke. If you see the trailer for the movie, it's a very woke movie. Yep. Wokeness, as we all know, is basically a poison to any movie. Just look at White Yo and Strange World turning around and how they turned out. Okay, but this movie, nobody really watched the movie. Okay. And most of the videos related to this movie are either when the movie came out, or people talking about it randomly during the pandemic. And nobody is watching them because nobody remembers this movie. Despite the critical acclaim, and I think another thing that stunts to the forgettability of Booksmart is the fact that this movie was not even nominated for any Oscars, which is pretty hilarious, because I thought the Oscars, they complained that people complained there wasn't any female directors or anything, but Booksmart was directed by a female director. Also, the two main characters, if you see the trailer, are basically lesbians as well. So, as well. But I've not seen the movie, so I can't really tell unless I'm foreign based off the trailers. Because I've seen the trailer for the movie. But despite this, nobody remembers Booksmart. This movie is not talked about in film discussions. People don't talk about the movie Booksmart, despite it feeling like a classic, despite it becoming as well. And the only people who seem to be pushing this movie as a cult classic is the mainstream media, because the mainstream media and the film critics love this movie. But nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about Booksmart. This movie is supposed to be a classic, a cult classic. It's supposed to be one of the greatest comedies of all time. But nobody's talking about it. We look up comedy movies, which apparently is only 2022 movies? Okay, top picks. Yeah, I don't really think you're recommending me it's Ace Ventura. But these are popular comedies. But again, the movie that people remember when it comes to comedy movies of 2019 is, of course, this movie. I don't like Ryan Johnson. I thought this movie was okay. It was a 7 or 6 out of 10 movie, which is actually not that far off from the actual score on IMDb from a 7.9 out of 10. But Knives Out, it existed. I watched it, and that's it. They made a sequel didn't count as well. But yeah, some of these movies are not even comedies at all. Okay, like Amsterdam. I don't think that was a comedy. I think that was just a bad movie overall. But look at the 100 best comedy movies, the funniest movies of all time, and this was written in 2023. Okay, here are the funniest movies of all time. Well, it's Booksmart. Booksmart was supposed to be among the greatest of comedies as well. I wish I could fast forward, but we're going to the top 20 movies, and Booksmart is nowhere to be seen. And really, not many newer movies are up here. Probably because modern comedy sucks because they try to do the down comedy. But we're gonna go through the 100 movies and see if Booksmart shows up. Because if Booksmart was such a great comedy movie, it would show up on lists like this. And also, this list was published in 2023. Oh, we got 2013 movie. Those are a lot of movies from the 90s. And oh yeah. I noticed that. There's a lot of movies from the 90s and earlier because back when comedy used to be funny. Haha. Pops down a mask. But now in the top 100. Oh, here it is. 90th below. There's something about Mary. And of course, the mask. So you didn't remember that the movie exists. I mean, this side actually remembered that the movie existed. Considering that every critic, if you look at the Rotten Tomato score for the movie, it is a 96%. You would think a movie with that a high score would be remembered, would be talked about, but alas, no one talks about it. For example, the top 100 movies, they forgot, they put it near the bottom. So basically, when people are looking for comedy movies, they'll be watching the movies near the top. No one's will be watching, oh, you're the 90th best comedy movie of all time. No one gives a shit if you're 90th. People give a shit if you're in the top 10. And Booksmart was supposed to feel like a classic. It was supposed to be a masterpiece. But alas, nobody remembers this movie. Nobody talks about this movie. Nobody is talking about this movie online either. Yeah, so we have Booksmart Blu-ray review, not related to the movie, a small channel reviewing the movie, a short, spoke about it incredible. So, podcast that was probably as well. But look at that, nobody is viewing this, okay? Nobody is watching any reviews for Booksmart because nobody cares about this movie. Let's look at another movie that people actually like. So this is Ace Ventura. When people talk about Ace Ventura, obviously. And there's way more videos overall about Ace Ventura, the movies, because Ace Ventura is a movie that people remember. You have 1,200 views on that one, 9.1 thousand views on that one, and Booksmart can barely muster over 200 views. And this is a movie that came out in 1990. Watching Ace Ventura for the first time, 6.1k views. Okay, Ace Ventura as a comedy is much more popular, both of the movies, than, of course, Booksmart. Let's look at another movie that people essentially forgot about, Alita, as well. When you look up the movie, Alita. Oh wait, it's people we are uploading the full movie for some reason, which is actually illegal. So we can't really count that. Let's look up a review or something, because it's illegal to upload a whole movie on YouTube as well. But if you look up reviews for Alita, look at this. Alita, oh, that's the manga, not the movie. But you see more people talking about Alita, even though it was considered one of the more forgettable movies of the year. Because I made a video about why nobody remembers Alita as well. But even then, there are still people are still talking about it, especially on Twitter as well. Well, more people are talking, especially if they make a sequel to Alita, that's gonna blow up again. People are gonna be talking about Alita way more when they make a sequel to Alita, if they ever do. But and we have the rank. Let's go on the ranker. All-time best comedy movies. Okay, Uncle Buck, Vacation, most of these movies except for like I have not seen every one of these movies. Most of these movies are classic movies. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Caddyshack. All these movies are really classic comedy movies. You know, Shrek. Okay, Superbad. Oh yeah, Booksmart. This is the movie that Booksmart was based off of. Let's remember that. Let's go over what the voted best comedies, because this is stuff that people actually go on when they rank of comedies. Okay, let's look up Booksmart. Where is it? You know, the movie that feels like it's so amazing and so great. Oh, it's not on the list. It's not even on the list. But it's supposed to be a masterpiece. Let's remember that. It's supposed to be one of the greatest movies of the year. It's supposed to be the best comedy of all, one of the best comedies of all time. And it's not even on the list of the best comedies. No one even thought of adding it to the list of best comedies of all time. That's how bad. That's how real people remember Booksmart. The movie has been out for 3 years. Okay. 1.1 million people viewed it. Okay. Probably around 300,000 people viewed it throughout the last 3 years. And no one thought of adding the great Booksmart. Okay. We have the absolute funniest movies of all time. Let's see what Booksmart is on the list. It's at, guess what? 884. Yeah, nobody remembers this movie. Nobody remembers this movie. Okay. No one remembers this movie. Okay. 884. Okay. 884. I bet it's rolled in a lot of really poorly received comedies, too. Oh, it looks like the blizzard stopped. A lot of really bad comedies are probably higher than Booksmart. Like when I talk about bad comedies, I'm talking about poorly received comedies, like low budget comedy movies. You know, those type. Like for example, stuff like Santa Jaws, as well. But best new comedies of recent years: Free Guy, Palm Springs, Jumanji, Jojo Rabbit, Good Boys, Shazam. Booksmart's at 8. But again, you have such great competition like Cruella. Yeah, a movie that nobody liked. Okay. But there you go. A movie that everybody forgot about. Okay. And what other movies did Olivia Wilde make? What other movies did she make? Oh! Such successes! I guess she's doomed for failure because she also made Don't Worry Darling, but we all know that was a failure. And she apparently was behind or involved with this thing. Apparently she's also an actor too, but actress too, so yeah. She was also involved with Babylon. She didn't direct the movie, obviously, but we all know Babylon was one of the biggest flops of the year. So that means most of the movies she's made, has been in, have been flops. So I guess he is box office poison, after all, Olivia Wilde, because she was in this pile of trash and nobody went to go see. Of course, everybody was smart enough to avoid Babylon as well. Also, this movie is mocking an ancient civilization that is definitely a trillion times more memorable than this movie itself. But yeah, have you ever seen the movie Booksmart? If you have, maybe we'll comment below because I'll probably talk about even more forgotten movies. I already talked about Arita before and how people just forgot the movie. Like it was supposed to be like a movie that everybody of course there's still vocal people, Marvel people on Twitter talk about Arita and how she'll get a sequel. But other than that, the general audience has really forgotten about Arita. But even then, more people talk about Arita, especially on Twitter, than people talk about Booksmart. There's no campaign for a Booksmart sequel. Okay, and I don't think there ever will be because nobody watched Booksmart. Nobody remembers Booksmart. And nobody probably watched it on streaming either. Even what streaming service is even Booksmart on? Oh, it's on Amazon Prime for free. That's like the other movies that's the same as Firestarter, a movie that nobody went to go see. So yeah, this movie is utterly forgotten. But if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. Free, just like Firestarter, another movie that nobody liked. But at least Firestarter had the advantage of being based on a Stephen King book. As well. But yeah, I have not seen this movie before, so yeah. But I just remember everybody was talking about how great this movie was. And then this movie just disappeared off the face of the planet. Even Arita, people were talking about Arita for like a year. Okay. You had the whole Oscars campaign and stuff. But I don't think anyone talked about Booksmart. This movie, apparently, this movie released in March of 2019. As well. The movie did make money, however, because the movie had a budget of $6 million. It grossed $25 million. So it did, however, make money. Probably because it made 12, it needed to make around $15 million to break even, which probably wasn't that hard for this movie. As well. Aries was nominated for Golden Globes. But yeah, everybody basically forgot this movie existed. Let's skip the plot. Reception, critical response, accolades. This movie was nominated for a lot of accolades. And then people forgot this movie even existed. So what forgettable movie do you want me to talk about next? We could talk about, there's a lot of animated movies that are forgotten. A lot of, actors superhero movies that are forgotten as well. So yeah, that's basically this video. And yeah, goodbye.